As a man, do you believe you are a threat to women? The hard truth is potentially yes. Now that doesn't feel great to say. It's uncomfortable to sit with it. But it is the recognition that as a cis-het man, particularly a white cis-het man, historically, that has not always gone so well for the other person in the interaction, especially for members of marginalized or oppressed communities. And no matter what I do, no matter how impeccable my behavior, no matter what I say or how eloquently I say it, I will always embody the oppressor, the terrorizer, to those who have been oppressed. Here in Texas, you will regularly see people posting to Facebook or next-door communities asking if the snake they found in their yard is dangerous. It is almost always a rat snake, incredibly common, entirely harmless. And despite the fact that they have very clear and obvious distinguishing markers, there's always a bunch of comments that say, no, that is a copperhead, they are dangerous and you need to stay away. Because they would rather avoid the risk entirely due to the potential of that interaction being harmful. Now, again, that is an incredibly difficult thing to accept about yourself. And most of us recognize that violence, fear, intimidation, domination, and control are wrong. And yes, there are men out there like that, but not us. But right next door to those men are the men who accept those men exist, but don't stop them. They don't expose them. They don't call out their behavior. But just because that isn't you, doesn't mean it's somebody else's problem to deal with it and address it. Harm, like most things, is on a spectrum. And that's what the work is about. Continually educating ourselves so that we move progressively along that spectrum so that we do less and less harm each day. And that begins with, yes, rejecting violence, intimidation, domination, control, and fear, but also calling out when others are using those tactics. But also moving into all of the subtle, indirect ways that we exert soft power to cause harm. Our implicit biases and prejudices, our behavior, the choice of language we use, the way we exert political power and influence, our consumerism, they all have the potential to cause great harm. And some of those conversations are intensely difficult matters, where it feels like there are no good options that don't cause some degree of harm. And this is the space that we as men need to start inhabiting if the bare conversation makes us uncomfortable. Where instead of rejecting the idea that we are harmful, we accept and understand that we all have the potential to do incredible harm. That we make a commitment to wake each day minimizing that harm by listening to others, their lived experience, their fears, and working to change our own behavior so that each day we do less and less harm, either intentional or unintentional, to those around us. Building communities and relationships based around respect, understanding, care, and love for each other. But for that to happen, men have to open their eyes, their ears, their hearts, and their minds, and listen to what those who have been harmed by us are telling us and are desperate for us to learn.